Hello there and welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. We are talking here with Mr. Janaprit Fernando and Mr. Abdullah Rashid from the Scouting movement about the upcoming anniversary of Sri Lanka in Scouting for 100 years. We have an interesting video coming up as well on your way to see what the Scouts in action do. And it indeed is interesting because if anyone wants to know what Scouting is about, this clip will just tell you what exactly it's about. Have a look. Indeed, fantastic scenes from the action-packed time of the Scouts. Wonderful to see, really. It's a bit of the outdoors, challenging yourself, going beyond yourself, being self-sufficient, all about it. Mr. Rashid, give us a bit of a commentary on what we saw. I mean, it's not just the day, it's about the night, trekking, hiking, camping, challenging yourself.
Yeah, it's a number of things that happens during a camp or during any of those activities. As I earlier mentioned, because it goes into every aspect of life, in fact. Every aspect of life, and also making, as the minister mentioned, a lot goes to friendship, making friends, working with them, and also being able to live with them. That's much more different than just talking and having a word, being friends, but living with them and being able to cope up with them is a challenge itself, and that gives a lot of, your own self in reality when you leave school or when you come into the real life.
Right.
So that's the better thing.
I also want to pick up, Mr. Fernando, on some interesting, unique trivialities about Scouting. Explain to me about the left-hand shake and the right-hand salute.
Yes, Harit, there are actually three unique things in Scouting which I have identified. One is the left-hand shake. The left-hand shake, as you know, the heart is on the left, and then when we shake hands with our left, we are very close to each other, heart to heart. Plus, there's a bit of history with regard to the war at the time. The shield was carried on the right hand, on the left hand. It was kept on the floor, and then they shook hands. They knew that so they could identify each other.
Right.
Apart from that, the scarf we wear is another very unique item in our uniform, or even without the uniform, because in my capacity, I travel a lot to serve the movement. And whenever you walk into an airport and you see another colleague of ours waiting for you in a scarf, and then you salute with the three fingers. The three fingers depict the three promises in the Scout movement: duty, trust, and obey. Duty, obey, and help. The three promises, because every Scout has to take a Scout promise when he's invested. Apart from that, we have 10 laws to abide by. So these are the three unique things in the movement, which I think all 35 million all over the world have in common.
I see. Also, I saw something interesting that the Chief Scout of Sri Lanka is the president. Explain to me about
Yes.
this.
Generally, the Chief Scout of the country is the head of state.
I see.
And presently it's His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, and we are very proud and happy to inform you and the general public that he is one of the best ever Chief Scouts we have had because of the support he has given the Scout movement.
I see.
Not only him, Madam Rajapaksa, Honorable Nama Rajapaksa, all of them are great supporters of the movement, and he will be in fact declaring open the Jamboree on the 1st at Dambulla,
I see.
and will welcome all the foreign delegates as well.
I also understand something about the Sri Lankan Scout movement with regard to the trilingual policy now, and also the development in the north and east. Could you elaborate?
Yes, Harit, actually scouting was never obstructed by during the war. Even during the war, we had continuous scouting going on both in the north and the east. There was one obstacle that we were unable to get many boys as we would have liked to for our camps in Colombo or send boys there.
I see.
Now that has been cleared, and numbers have increased by about 4-5-fold in the Jaffna Peninsula and other areas. And also we have there's a World Scout Organization a movement called the Messenger of Peace. Under that project funded by the World Scout Bureau, we have been able to have reconciliation camps for scouts of the north and the east, camping with the scouts of the south. Scouts of south going there to the north and east can camping with them.
Right.
And then in addition to the camping, they also go to their homes and spend a couple of days with the families. So our the southern guys were able to go to the north and the east and spend 2-3 days with those families. Plus the northern guys were able to come to the south and spend few days. So that has been able to bridge a lot of differences and gaps. And I think scouting is the best movement for reconciliation and peace in any part of the world, because even this under Messenger of Peace, India and Pakistan having joint camps. So that is what it makes to be a scout.
Picking up, scouting develops oneself. But what impact does scouting have on the international community, on the community at large? Mr. Rashid, tell us a bit as the regional director, what impact has the scouting movement had on the world? Any impactful thing that the scouts have done?
Basically, as picking up on what Ms. Janaprit mentioned, scouting also does not happen only within the premises of the school or an open institution. It also goes very much into the community. And there are a number of projects which are done by the scouts in the community, because we have the motto that you leave the place a little better than what you found it. So that's the motto that each scout works. At least wherever in your living in your community, you make a little change in the community. So that is why we say in scouting, unless you are with the community, it's no longer scouting. Scouting has to be with the community. So that happens both at national level, regional level, and we have a number of projects where the scouts are facilitated to be part of the community, to make a change in the community. And at the world level, we have that happening in every country, and peace is an underlying thing for scouting, because it's the brotherhood and the sisterhood. So we build on peace, and within the communities, bringing about the messages of development. In fact, we are part of the so-called Millennium Development Goals, and we are now working on the Messenger of Peace, as Janaprit mentioned. The Sri Lanka projects will continue, and there are a number of communities, local communities, and we have one incident where they have done so much to the community, they changed the name of the village itself.
I see.
They said Rover. Rover means the upper section of the scouts, and said it's the Rover village. So they have gone to that extent of making a change and impact, and that's what's part of it, and it has to be going that way.
Picking up on that, Mr. Fernando, what have the Sri Lankan scouts done? I remember a story about something where there was a bicycle parade or so from the north to the south. Can you elaborate on this?
Thanks to the peace we enjoy, we were able to organize last year in 2010, starting on the 14th of February and ending on the Founders Day, 22nd of February. We started a cycle parade with 100 scouts, starting from Point Pedro and going up to Dondra Point. And they stayed overnight in various towns, and we were able to conduct campfires to invite the public, so that the message of scouting went round. So we had a mix of both boys from the north and the east, and the southern provinces and other provinces, where all 100 of them rode from Jaffna, from Point Pedro to Dondra Point, and we were able to get a flag, carry a flag from there with signatures right throughout, and hand this flag over to His Excellency the President, the Chief Scout.
I see.
To show that the Scout movement has been able to going to all these areas without any encumbrance or any difficulty.
Gentlemen, it has indeed been a pleasure having you on the show, getting your views on scouting and so on and so forth. I wish all the best for the scouts with the 100th anniversary as well as the Jamboree. Before we end, to those persons out there who are not scouts, firstly, I'll come to both of you. Mr. Rashid, what would you say? Who are not scouts, what would your advice be?
Now, for those who are not scouts today, we have a large number outside, as you said. The members in the scout movement are still very small compared to the large youth population that we have,
Yes.
and it is estimated something like 1 billion. So we are not really catering, and we would like to ask those young people, if you want a real experience in life and to get yourself, for the future, and also to expose yourself to the international world. I mean, it's a lot that can offer through the movement for the international exchange, international visits, and meeting with friends and all that. And I would say that nobody will regret for having been a scout. And as long as the minister rightly said, you have to give yourself, be in it. And the more you are in it, the more you gain from it. And I can assure you that nobody will regret your young days while being a scout. And as you grow up, you will say rightly what I said, I owe a lot for scouting.
Mr. Fernando, I'm sure you concur on those thoughts.
Of course.
Yes.
We'll have millions of success stories from scouts.
Yes.
Because we have a big swimming pool there. So the youth must get in there to enjoy the water. Similarly, the scout movement is open and anyone could come in and join. And also my appeal to the public is, please come to Dambulla. It's open to the public from 2nd to the 6th of April. And visit this jamboree, encourage those locals and the foreigners who are there, and
Thank you,
show
sir.
what Sri Lankan hospitality is. Thank you.
And thank you very much, gentlemen, for being on the show. And with that, we'll take a quick commercial break and be back. Welcome back. Today, the 26th of March, is the first day of the Colombo International Theatre Festival. The first time it is happening in Sri Lanka will be from the 26th of March to 2nd of April. A wonderful thing. We had a couple of guests, Gustav Vijalko and Gerda Koenig, telling us about what they're doing. They will be opening the show with Changeable Cohesion, a wonderful show. It will be at the British School Auditorium from 3:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Wonderful show. So many artists coming from Germany, Iran, Australia, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, India. Tickets are available at the German Cultural Institute at the British School Auditorium, and also tickets.lk, www.tickets.lk. You can also check the schedule there. It's a wonderful program, and I hope everyone goes and checks it out, because Sri Lanka has not done something like this for a long time, and an international theatre festival of its caliber is indeed a privilege for us to have. Tomorrow the show will be by the Iranians, Old Man and the Sea, and the Sri Lankan performance art will be also happening with Passengers being performed, and I encourage all of you to go and take a look, especially with the first act today, because we are giving prominence for the first act with a set of the cast being partially disabled, and it's a very prominent symbol that they are starting the theatre festival, showing that art knows no bounds, art knows no disability, and giving that opportunity to shine, and our support is needed for those people. And if you check out what we have before we wrap up, you will see the grace and the wonder and the passion that they bring to what they do. So the Colombo Theatre Festival, it's for you to go and look. Unfortunately, we don't have time to look into the video, look into the details on the website, and I hope you make your way. British School Auditorium, 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. from the 26th of March to the 2nd of April. Thank you very much for being on the show with us today, and hope you have a wonderful week.